name is Dr. Katerina Bulett, and I'm a chiropractor at Danforth East Wellness who works with a lot of musicians. In this video, I'll be going over the top 10 stretches and strengthening exercises I put together for musicians. I know there's 10, that's a lot, but the nice thing is that if you use some of the strategies about practicing, you can actually incorporate them throughout the course of a practice session and not make it a big deal. We're going to start off with your hip flexor stretch, and that's really important because you're sitting a lot of the time for practicing and performing. So how that looks is you kneel down, you keep the back foot flat, bring this foot forward. What I want you to make sure is that this knee here is at 90 degrees. So we don't want this to be overflexed or underflexed. So if you have to, you move your foot forward and stretch. I like to hold on to a wall, and you should be feeling the stretch on the front of the thigh that's at the back. The foot is flat at the back. You want to hold stretches 30 seconds at a time. So the other thing that happens is that because you are sitting for such long periods of time, your glutes become weak but also tight. So it causes a lot of pain and dysfunction. So in order to combat that, we're going to do some release of them using a ball. So what Roseanne's going to do is go onto her back. And what you would do is on the bed, if it's too hard, or on the floor you find a smaller ball, you're just going to put that underneath in the center. And at that point, this leg can come down if it wants, it can be bent, but you can really look for areas that are tense and move it around and really get into that center of it where it might be hurting. And I don't know how that feels, might be good and pokey, and that's what we're looking for. And you just do that until that simmers down a little bit. All right, so that's the release portion. And then we have something called a clamshell to strengthen it because it's weak. So that looks like a person on their side, relaxed down. And what you're going to do is keep your feet together and knees bent kind of at 90 degrees. Hips are stacked, not rotated. And you're going to use your bum muscle to lift that knee up. So the important thing is that you're not using your leg to lift, but you're actually activating that glute muscle to lift. Perfect. So you don't have to do too many of these. You can do 2 to 5 of them. You just need to actually do them. Because I don't need 10 or 12, I don't need 4 reps, I just need you to start doing it. That's the important part. All right, still with me, I hope. We're going to now go into a nice relaxing one for your low back, and it's called Child's Pose. So let's get you down. It looks like this, where you're on your knees, your hips are down, and the arms come out front. And you just release all the way down. If you need to, you can spread your legs open to help bring your bum down. That's all good. So this you can just hang out in. The other way you can help some of the long muscles of your side, called your lats, is you're going to wiggle your hands out to the side and release and feel that nice stretch. And then we're going to work our way over to the other side and hang out there for a little bit. And that's a really nice stretch and release. All right, planks. Everybody's nightmare, but really good for musicians. Again, I don't expect you to do a 1-minute plank. What I want is even to start with 10 seconds. So start with what doesn't make you cringe. If 20 seconds makes you feel like a failure and you can't do it, scale it back. If 10 seconds is too much, start with 5. Just start it. All right, so there are 2 types of planks. One is on your front, so for the front muscles, and one is on the side. So then you do both sides. So let's have you from the side, maybe, Razan? So you can start with your hands shoulder width apart, and then you bring your legs out straight and hold. What I want you to make sure of is that you're not having your shoulders up near your ears. I don't want this to dip. I want it a little bit more. So making sure this is nice and straight and strong, and making sure you're not collapsing your shoulders up. Good job. All right, let's get down. Alternate on your elbows. Yes. So she just pointed out the one on your elbows. And I actually like this one the best. So it's not about hurting your arms. It's about having your shoulders down and not hurting any of those wrists. Good job. Side plank. Ha. So this one's not the most fun. So I do this on my my forearm. Exactly. Stack your hips and up you go. Stack your feet together. That's perfect. Once again, be aware of your shoulder and having a nice long neck. Good job. We do this on both sides. Amazing. We're going to bring in a nice release, which is for sitting and twisting, because so much of your body is twisted often in one direction. So we just want to also make sure the other direction gets some release. So this is a yoga move called seated twist. So you put your legs out, put one leg over, bring your arms through the other direction. The important thing to realize here, I want open collarbones. I want this to be really nice and straight. I don't want you to trick your body by squishing this down. This has to be nice and open and twisting from the bottom. You can twist from there too. When you're breathing, you can release a little, breathe up, extend, breathe out, and twist more. And this arm at the back can move back as it needs to. If this is onerous or you find it difficult to get to the floor, there's an option with a chair. If we have Razan sitting, what we can do is we bring the one arm behind the chair. Sometimes you can grab the bottom of the chair, and this arm grabs the side of the chair. So we'll do both sides to demonstrate it a bit more. And we can do the same thing sitting. You hold again. So this arm grabs the back of the chair, this arm grabs the side, and again, it's about keeping this open, keeping the spine straight. All right, now we're gonna do a series for the neck and shoulders because that's what's often in trouble. The important thing with neck stretches is, again, if you don't have the correct posture to start with, you're not stretching what you need to, and you could actually be causing yourself some difficulties. So again, you want to make sure that your back is released, your stacked rib cage over hips, and the most important thing is ears over shoulders. Your nose has to stay in between that, and your ears have to be stacked. So the very basic one is to turn. Rotate and hold. And back to center. Once again, make sure those ears are over the center. And you're going to rotate and hold. Very easy. Same thing. You're going to have your ears back and you're going to tilt. So it's very important you stay in this plane and that you don't rotate where your nose is on your face. What I'm talking about, I'll have you come sideways. I'll do it so that Razan is not in trouble. And center. So the problem is that if I'm not stacked properly, this is not going to do anything for me. This is not going to do anything for me. So I have to be sure that I'm in this position and that I am tilting properly to get the stretch that I need. That's very important. Two more when we're sitting. This is for this muscle in front called Sternocleidomastoid. Really important for violinists, Really important for people who play flute, super important. So you're going to turn 45, and this is interesting, you're going to lift your ear to the ceiling. And I don't want you to compress at the back of the head, but what you want to do is almost really try to lift upwards, so you're getting a stretch in here. And then you're going to move your chin toward the ceiling, so you get a slightly different muscle belly from that same one. How does that feel, Razan?
It's a nice stretch.
Yeah, so that's a really great area to open up that we neglect a lot of the time. And also, not just for musicians, for people who are on phones a lot of the time, that's one of the muscles that gets really short and tight. The other one that gets in trouble is the one at the back called Levator Scapulae. So that one, I call this stretch smell your armpit. So it's an easy one to remember. So this arm comes back either bent or grabbing the bottom of the chair. And again, stack, turn 45, look down at your armpit, and grab that hand to the back of your head. Whoop, 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 whoop. There we go.
There we go.
And release. And it's not a pull, it's the weight of your arm. And that's a great stretch for the back of the neck here. And should feel pretty darn good. So we're going to start facing the wall, really close to it. We're going to put your arm up. The important thing here is that you're not lifting that shoulder up. If you are, don't do it. If it's pinching up here, don't do it. We're going to turn your feet perpendicular, and the inside foot is going to go forward. A little bit more, and you should feel a stretch in the front of your chest. This arm can support you if you want against the wall, but the important thing is that you're turning away, forward, and in. So you're going to undo the whole thing. So Razan, come back to the center. This time, instead of straight up, we're going to do 45. So 45 degrees, turn your feet, inside foot forward, and hang. I love this one, and it's also really, really intense, so don't worry about that. The other thing, again, to make sure is that it's not pinching up at the top. If it is, stop doing it. Center. Last fiber direction is horizontal, turning sideways, inside foot forward, and releasing. Great. Awesome. How does that feel? Yeah, it's a good one.
Stretch.
Yeah, it's a great one. Okay, arms. Everybody needs their arms stretched. So I'm going to demo this one with Razan on this side. So let's bring you over so people can see how we are doing this. Good. So there's two different ways to do this stretch for two different directions. So we start off up here. So you're going to move a little bit away so that this arm is straight. This arm is going to support your elbow, so that's not compromised. You want to put a bit of weight into the wall. And what we're going to do is start sliding down. You can move away from the wall if you need to. And at some point, that's going to start lifting off the wall. There we go. So come back to where it's flat and hang out there. The nice thing about this stretch, instead of just the usual arm out stretch, is that you have a marker of where your arm is and how it's doing. So you have a way to note your progress and see how much tension you have in your body. So this is a very effective way. It's very protected. It's not going to cause you any problems. Now, we do the opposite. So then we come off and we start down here. So making sure, again, you're facing the wall properly, you're not twisted at your shoulders. All right, so this way we're going to go up the wall, making sure that wrist doesn't start to come off. Keep that neutral. Oh, we're starting to have a bit of tension. So you would hang out there and feel that stretch. And maybe if it releases more, you can try to go up in the same session to get a bit more stretch and mobility out of those arms. All right, I know that was a lot. Those are my top 10 stretches and strengthenings. It's not about how much you do it, if you do it all at once. It's about also knowing that stretches should be held 30 seconds, the strengthenings 3 to 5 seconds hold, and it's not about the number of times you do it, it's just getting there and doing it for your body. So there we are. Hope that helps you keep your body safe and healthy as you continue to produce awesome music. Take care.